I have the honor tonight of introducing our speaker, who will offer some comments related to the significance of today. However, before I do that, let me take a moment to insert a personal comment. For the past decade, I've had the true privilege of leading the School of Architecture as Dean. As many of you know, in August, I will step down and return to the faculty. These past 10 years have been a personal and career high point that I will never encounter again, and I want to thank the faculty, the staff, but in particular the students of the School of Architecture for giving me this extraordinary opportunity. And it is now my distinct pleasure to introduce our speaker, Fred Perpall. Fred is a 1996 and a 1998 graduate of the UT Arlington School of Architecture, where he received both an undergraduate and a professional master's degree in architecture. I also mentioned that Fred is an alumnus of the Harvard Business School as a member of the 183rd class of the Advanced Management program there, but I'm certain that that was really just a resume filler, and everything he really needed to know he learned right here on this campus. Fred is a native of Nassau, Bahamas, and a member of the 1994 Bahamian national basketball team. I know he came to UTA to play basketball, not to study architecture, but the allure of endless nights in the design studios lured him away from his athletic pursuits. And by the conclusion of his time here, and when he completed his degree, he was awarded the AIA Medal as the highest ranking student in that graduating class. Immediately after his time here, he was hired by the Beck Group and has risen up in that organization to the position of Chief Executive Officer, the first CEO who is not a member of the founding Beck family. As CEO of the Beck Group, Fred's responsibilities include oversight of all aspects of Beck's domestic real estate, design, and construction practice. Fred spends the majority of his time driving the firm's commitment to innovation in the design, construction, and operation of very large, complex projects. I'll also point out with great pride that he is a registered architect and brings a design sensibility to all of his responsibilities. Consistent with the values of Beck, Fred is committed to giving back to his community. He is active in numerous professional, technical, civic, philanthropic, and community organizations. Fred currently serves on the executive committee and board of directors for the Dallas Regional Chamber, the board of directors for the Dallas Citizens Council, the board of counselors for President Jimmy Carter's Carter Center, the board of visitors at Emory University, among others too numerous to list. Additionally, he is a former fellow of the Baker Institute America's Project at Rice University, ex-chairman of the ULI Urban Plan, and a former director of the American Institute of Architects. He and his wife, Abby, who has joined us here this evening, currently reside in Dallas with their two daughters, Ava and Ali. Please join me in welcoming one of the university's most notable alumni.
Good evening. Good evening. It's going to be a long night if you guys are just sitting in the seats. It's really good to be here with you tonight. I would like to say I wrote a long speech, but I got an email about 2 days ago telling me I had 6 to 8 minutes. And so I said, clearly, no faculty member could have determined that time frame, since I don't remember any professor here at UTA speaking for less than 2 hours on anything. So it's really an honor to be here with you tonight. I moved to Arlington in 1993, and I want you to imagine with me leaving the Bahamas in August. It's breezy, it's like 80 degrees, it's cool in the evening. And then I got off that plane in Texas in August. And 21 years ago, I didn't know if I was going to last one day, much less 21 years, to be here with you tonight. So it's a rich and rewarding experience for me. I've got 3 points I want to leave with the graduates. I learned so much here at UTA. I like to say a lot of my life started here at UTA. One of the first things I learned at UTA was to have fun. Come on now, you guys know what I mean, like to have real fun. Come on, UTA, like fun. At 14, I worked in my uncle's masonry business. He was a block layer. It's the tropics, it's sunny, we're lifting blocks. And mixing cement in the summer sun is not a fun deal, but you know, the architect would always show up on the site. And he'd invariably drive up in an air-conditioned car with a little cigar in his pocket. He'd come out for 2 minutes, boss everyone around, jump back in the car, and speed off. I said, you know, that looks like a better job than mixing cement. So I came to UTA with the purpose of finding a good job. Like maybe if I got a good education, I could get a good job. No one in my family had ever gone to college. And so for me, coming here, it was, could I get a good job? But when I got to UTA, the professors would talk about design and construction, and they would talk about buildings, not about masonry and cement, but they would talk about these buildings like they were people. And they would talk about places like they were family. And they would be so passionate about what we were doing that it didn't feel like a job. It didn't feel like something you would do just to earn a living. It felt like something you would become. And the first point I want to make to you graduates today is, do not pursue a job. Pursue your work. Your work is the productive way you add value to your life, to the people that love you, and to the communities in which you live. It is the way you deliver your talent back into the communities and the societies. It is the way you harness your passion and your talent. And the irony is, if you pursue good work, you will have any job you want. So pursue your work. The second point I want to make is a point about imagination. In high school, I would routinely get kicked out of class for daydreaming. My mother actually ran the cafeteria at my high school. She had a 9th grade education. And so if your mother works at the high school you go to and you're a daydreamer, there's a lot of moments for discipline. And I'm still a dreamer. Imagination is so much more important than knowledge. It's my favorite Einstein quote. Imagination speaks to your future. Facts speak to things that have already been recognized. So many of us put limits on our own self based on our lack of imagination. I learned to imagine here at UTA, to dream. I see some of my old professors, I don't mean old in terms of age, I mean tenured professors. And one in particular, Dr. Maida, is sitting up front here, and I remember telling him after I got my bachelor's, I said, you know, I'm heading back to the Bahamas. I'm going to open a small little business. And Dr. Maida told me that my possibilities were global. Don't cap your potential with your own imagination. Continue to dream big and take some risk. It's never going to be easier to take risk. You know, some of you are sitting out there saying, well, you know, once I get my first job, I'll take a little risk. I'll buy my first house, and then maybe I'll take a little risk. I'll have some kids, and then I'll take some risk. It will never be easier in your life to take risk than now. And if you're going to bet on anything, bet on yourself. Take a little bit of risk. The last point I want to make is a point about people, other people. I learned to be concerned about other people. I suspect I always knew this, but it was confirmed for me here at UTA. Today is Mother's Day. Can I see all the mothers of the graduates? Can you stand for me? Okay, dads, you can stand too. I don't, someone's going to tell me I discriminate against the dads when I leave here, but we all stand under trees that we didn't plant. It is easy and tempting at times to think, I did this by myself. I studied late. I hid the books. I built all those models, Craig Cooner. It's easy to get caught up in I. All of us have what we have because of other people. And we must never forget that. We must be concerned about others. The person sitting next to you, the community where you will go and work, the world in which we live. Because we have what we have because of others. Every day my mom made me work in her little cafeteria. We had a 600-person school and she ran the cafeteria. And before basketball practice, there was floors to be scrubbed and pots to be scraped. And then we'd have to sit sometimes in the hatchback because Mom would always make sure that all the workers got a ride home, even if that meant packing 8 or 9 of us into a car. And then we'd pack all the food up late at night, and we would drop it off to families around our little neighborhood. We're a small island, so I don't know how Mom knew who needed to eat, but she always knew. And I learned to be, from her, just interested in people, not just interesting to people. As we move through life, we must be concerned about others because we're depending on others. I brought a stopwatch with me so I wouldn't go over. See, I learned that at UTA too. But as I move to my conclusion, I want to congratulate you all. My mom is no longer with us. Today is Mother's Day. Driving here, I just remember the look on her face when I walked off that stage and got my master's degree. I realized that everything she had worked for in life was not about her. It was about me, my siblings. So never forget all of the people that have done the work for you. They told me 6 to 8 minutes, and I'm right now at 9 minutes and 55 seconds. So just to let you know that Beck Construction always finishes on time. That's a shameless plug. I want to recognize another very important mother who gave up her Mother's Day, even though we didn't write a speech. My wife, Abby, up in the booth there. Hi, Abby. Graduates, one day you'll be making speeches. Always remember to thank your spouse. I'm going to leave you with my favorite quote. It's in my locker at home, and it's on my desk at work. You make your living by what you get. You make your life by what you give. Thank you all.